Final score, Eastleigh 1, Wrexham 1, and Wrexham overcome a strong wind, a claggy pitch and a choppy stream to come away with the point. But I've got to say, it's a disappointing point because we should have won it. We should have won it on the bounce of play, and it's disappointing to see them coming back and getting an equaliser. But I've just been going back through the video of the match again, and obviously, please take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. Anyone who saw the stream will understand what I mean. It was exceptionally difficult to work out what was going on for much of the match, but from what I can make out, both the penalty and the red card are absolute shockers. So Wrexham draw 1-1, having led, an equaliser from a penalty spot, but Tyler French sent off on his debut as well. We'll get to those in a bit. So Wrexham again starting with two changes, not surprisingly, once international clearance had come in. Dior Angus and Tyler French, the two new signings making their debuts. Reece Hall-Johnson and Adi Youssef making way. They both had bright starts, actually. Very early on, French had a good touch in the penalty area when Wrexham were under pressure to win the ball back and clear the danger. And Angus's first involvement was to start off a battle that was be crucial all night, getting the ball on the left-hand side, running at Boyce. Andrew Boyce is a very good National League centre-back, very experienced, high quality. He's not quick. And when Angus turned it into a race, knocked it past him, Boyce was in trouble. And Angus, like I said, his first touch for Wrexham, knocked the ball past Boyce like he wasn't there, couldn't quite pull the ball back for Kwame Thomas in the area. Boyce would later be booked, body-checking Angus as he flew past him. The opening 25 minutes were pretty much devoid of any goalmouth activity, but I've got to say, I think were very satisfactory. Wrexham, the away team, looked very solid, very compact, weren't troubled at all by Eastleigh, and frankly had a lot more of the ball and a decent amount more in terms of territory. What little chances they were, well, one fell to Wrexham, a good long pass by Paris down the left-hand side, Angus again cutting inside and drilling in a shot, but it was blocked. There was a little spell of pressure by Eastleigh from corners, which finally led to a decent chance when Boyce, who was constantly a threat from set pieces, and Wrexham did have trouble from set pieces, met the ball unmarked on the penalty spot. Powerful header, but Dibble was saved by a defender standing in front of him who was able to block it. Around the half-hour mark, Thomas did well to hold the ball up and square it to Jordan Davis. His shot from the edge of the area was well blocked, and not much was going on, like I said, in terms of threats to the 0-0 scoreline until about 10 minutes before the break, when Eastleigh just started up the pace a little bit and put a bit of pressure on. It all started when Jordan Davis, who'd started off the furthest forward of the three, trying to support the strikers, but then clearly was told to pull back into more of an orthodox three, dropped deep and lost the ball with a very sloppy pass. House intercepted, drove towards the edge of the area and was denied because Jordan Davis did brilliantly to sprint back, come in and block his shot behind for the corner. When that was swung in, Eastleigh had their best moment of the half. Barnett, the striker, got up and from 8 yards out met the ball with a powerful header. A brilliant save by Dibble, low to his right, and somehow managed to get his hand to it to claw it away, but it fell to Boyce 6 yards out, and with the keeper beaten, he lunged and seemed to have poked it into the net, but Mark Carrington appears on the line and lunging in himself made an excellent clearance to save Wrexham. There was another moment of danger when Hill, bursting down the left-hand side, managed to beat both French and Davis and drove in a shot from 10 yards to hit the outside of the post. To be honest, Dibble had it covered and it was pretty tight angle for a shot. But it was a nervous little spell for Wrexham, and they were very lucky in the last minute of the half to survive when an excellent break down the left-hand side, a 1-2 between Tomlinson and Bearwish, saw Tomlinson sweeping a great cross, and House, unmarked just outside the 6-yard box, central, headed it over. Should have done so much better. And how he must have felt at half-time, because within a minute, Wrexham were ahead. It was a peculiar and excellent goal. It started off with Wrexham feeding the ball out from the back to Angus, who on the halfway line seemed to have been fouled. The ref didn't give it, but the ball fell to Jordan Davis. He hit a great ball over the top. It looks at first like he just lumped it away. I don't think so. He dropped it between the left back and the left-sided centre-back, and Kwame Thomas chasing after, managed to get there first. A brilliant touch in his chest, knocked the ball between the two defenders and put him one-on-one with the keeper. To be fair to McDonald, the goalkeeper, he rushed off his line quickly, and Thomas saw him coming and beautifully gave him the eyes and put it in the opposite corner to where he'd expect him to. A great finish by Thomas, and Wrexham went in ahead. And the first 20 minutes of the second half, I thought we should have killed the game off, to be honest. Wrexham had their chances and were completely dominant. Davis with a free kick on the right wing, swept in. And McDonald had to tip it over the bar. Then Young standing up a free kick to the edge of the area, and a real lucky escape for Eastleigh. McDonald came to punch it, but Kelleher jumped in front of him, got there first, and flicked it backwards over the goalkeeper. A completely open goal, but the ball agonisingly drifted just over the bar rather than under it. Then there was a nice passage of play by Wrexham, the good crosses coming in from the left-hand side, Record whipping them in, Angus then attacking another cross, just beaten to it by Boyce and the ball, and eventually coming out to Davis, who from 25 yards hit a firm drive, which was just wide of the right post. But Wrexham were dictating the terms and seemed in control. However, Eastleigh slowly started to regain some influence in the game. Smart, bursting down the right-hand side, had a good run and a shot from 15 yards, which Dibble parried high to his right. In all honesty, it's a good save, but you wouldn't have expected him to let it in. Then there was a penalty shot by Eastleigh from a corner, which wasn't terribly convincing, but might have put the thought in Sonny Gill, the referee's mind, because with 20 minutes left, he gave a penalty to them, which, yeah, from what I can see, is remarkable. Right, again, I'm going to give you that health warning. The stream's awful. And so there could be something happening that I can't tell for sure. I'm pretty sure it was used using one of these artificial intelligence cameras as well. And it actually pulled out as the incident was happening. So the view was poor. But from what I could make out, Payne put in a corner around the penalty spot. It was a really good header, which looped over Dibble and hit the bar. It dropped down, pretty much straight down, and Young hooked the ball away off the line as House was ducking in to try and head it into the empty net. And the referee gave a penalty against Young. Now, his foot, indeed, may well have made contact with House's head. It was certainly accidental because he was clearing the ball off the line. House, okay, big bloke. Young's foot was high, I'm not going to deny that, but House was stooping it down into it as well. To be frank, it's the sort of decision that you definitely get on the halfway line, but in the penalty area, when you're hooking the ball off the line, you don't. And yeah, if that's what it was, and it certainly looks like it to me, I can't necessarily see anything else. That's a shocker by the referee. Tomlinson stepped up and drilled it inside the right post, no problem. 20 minutes left, game on. Also, you might have thought, but actually nothing else really happened to threaten either goal. Not that there wasn't activity, the game got very feisty. Sonny Gill, the referee, wasn't strong enough. He did give yellow cards out, but he was letting things go. And around, just up between the goal and the next 10 minutes or so, there was a lot of nasty stuff. There were late tackles that should have been punished by either side and weren't. He was losing control of the game a bit, and then it bubbled over in the 85th minute, and as so often happens, he overcompensated, I think. Again, health warning, there's been something I can't see, but the camera actually does zoom in on this one, so I think I've got a decent handle on it. In this one, the key thing is what Mice French have said, I guess, to get himself sent off. Now, he had already been booked, I'm pretty sure of that. It wasn't clear on the stream, and the commentator didn't spot it, but there was a yellow card given to a Wrexham player early in the second half. Horsfield was booked first, and then later on there was another challenge in that sort of right-sided area defensively. Well, obviously couldn't be in Horsfield who got the yellow because he'd been booked already. French is the right-sided centre-back. There's a decent chance it was him, but there was no way of telling from a stream that kept dropping out and pixelating, and often would zoom out, and it was on the far side of the pitch. But it's logical to assume it must have been French, because in the 85th minute, there was an incident. By this time, both sides were screaming for everything and angry. Basically, the ball fell in midfield, and House, running forwards, took on Davis. Now, Davis stuck his leg out pretty dramatically, almost like he was inviting a foul or a dive. The Eastleigh man went down. It's impossible to tell from the stream whether he dived or whether Davis made contact with him. The referee gave the free kick. Davis was furious, Wrexham were furious, and all of a sudden there was a melee of about 10 players all gathered around. Beg your pardon, it wasn't House, it was Tomlinson, the fullback. The spark of it seems to be that French came up, didn't come running up in an aggressive way, but came up to Tomlinson and clearly was accusing him of diving. The two of them stood chest to chest. From the angle, and like I said, it zooms in pretty well. The only contact that I can see between them is Tomlinson pushing French in the chest, not like shoving him to the ground, just pushing him like that. Admittedly, you can't hear what's being said, and the referee, well, basically just dispersed the players, and then obviously decided to book the two men in the middle of it. I don't think either of them did enough to be booked, personally. They had a disagreement, standing toe-to-toe. Hands were on her chest, but they weren't pushing hard. That was just, especially because the ref knows that he's on a yellow French case, I think, of stern talking to for both of them, saying, don't be so soft. But he gave both of them a yellow. For French, it was the second yellow, and I think that's very harsh. I mean, I got to be consistent. I would say, normally I would feel if a player is on a yellow and does something, he should get a second yellow. You shouldn't be thinking, oh, he's on a yellow, I'll protect him. So, I don't want to be a hypocrite here, but I don't think French did much. Unless he said something that he really shouldn't have done. That looks like another very poor decision. So Wrexham, unlucky in two respects there, but totally comfortable with the rest of the match. Eastleigh didn't threaten to create any chances. And the draw, okay, was a decent result on paper, certainly. I mean, Eastleigh are a good side. Didn't look at that much in this game. Wrexham looked better than them. When we had 10 men as well, interestingly, I'm a bit bored of this sort of Keats reputation for being negative. It's not made by people who are looking at the game and seeing what's happening, quite frankly. Like I said, there have been a few games this season where I think he's gone a bit too attacking. And in this match, we're down to 10 men. He left two up front and seemed to encourage Davis to get forward a bit more than he had been throughout most of the match. And that works pretty well, actually, because Eastleigh's players, especially the centre-backs, aren't great at playing the ball out from the back. And by putting pressure on them, they tended to be hitting hopeful balls forward or inaccurate balls out of play. It was a smart defensive move to push up the pitch. So, yeah, that was well managed by Wrexham. Ponticelli was on for Angus at this point, and probably having fresh legs, although he was brought on, Wrexham with 11 men, probably was useful in that respect to keep pressing. So a good performance, should have been a win, in all honesty. Going through the team, Dibble made a couple of good saves, and certainly, obviously, had no blame with the penalty. He may have got a touch on the header that hit the bar that dropped down for the penalty, in which case it would be a very good save to add to the two already made. Across the back, Keller was excellent, won a lot of headers, a lot of challenges, really seems to be settling down into an impressive figure in the heart of that three. To his right, French had a decent debut, I thought. He showed some good qualities. He's strong and he's quick and he can run, and he can see why sometimes Bradford can use him as a wing back, and I bet Wrexham would be tempted to as well. He can get up and down a line if he needs to. He did do that once when Horsfield covered for him. He can tackle. He had a couple of ropey moments, but I gotta say the pitch was horrible, and he had a couple of little moments where I think the pitch let him down when he was trying to pass it around. He played some good forward passes. He looked like a sort of direct type of player, which maybe is what this Wrexham team needs. He was punching balls down the line into the channel, and I like that. The other centre-back, Carrington, started a little bit shakily, I thought. Made a couple of sloppy passes that just weren't like him. But who can blame him? I mean, the guy is coming back from a long-term injury. It's only his third start of the season and his second game in 3 days. 4 days, beg your pardon. But he grew into it more. Brilliant clearance off the line and looked very steady. So back three did well. The wing-backs were impressive. Horsfield does not give the same attacking thrust as Hall Johnson, but he did some good defensive work, tidy work on the ball as well. And on the left-hand side, I thought Record was very good. One of his best games for Wrexham. He got forwards a bit better than he has done in some matches. He put some decent balls in as well, and he defended well. And for me, I mean, it was a sign of this. When I've looked at Eastleigh's previous games, Smart is a dangerous player. He's very fast down the right-hand side, but he only once threatened. And that was when he came inside rather than try to take on Record and hit a shot. And he was subbed with about 20 minutes left. I think that tells you how well Record did in smothering what I think is Eastleigh's most creative threat. In midfield, Harris won a lot more snarling challenges. It was a good follow-up to his performance on Saturday. Young again. Didn't really influence the game much of his use of the ball, but worked very hard again and won some good challenges. Jordan Davis had some lovely little passes. He's often more impressive the further up the pitch he is, but he did have some good passes on him getting the ball forwards. And then up front, well, Angus looks good to me. I like the look of him. He's sharp, he wants to run at people and commit them. We just looked a bit more threatening on the break coming forwards with him. I like the look of him as a signing. And Kwame Thomas alongside him, of course, football's about partnerships. Well, they've not had much chance to work together, but they work together very well. And Thomas held the ball up very well, did superbly for his goal, and should be applauded for that. Outstanding performances for man of the match. I guess for me, it boils down to Thomas, Record and Kelleher. And I think I'd go Record, to be honest. He did very, very well indeed. And coming back into the team, he had a couple of good games back-to-back. So, disappointing we didn't win it. That's quite a nice disappointing to feel, isn't it? Rather than disappointing because we just gone to Solihull and got hammered. There's a sense this team might be starting to gel in this three-at-the-back system now. The win against Dover, the draw against Halifax, who played very well. A win against Kings Lynn, a draw, a difficult away game. We've got another couple of interesting games coming up now. A home game against Dagenham, who we would hope to beat. Then a tough game on Tuesday. Altrincham won at Torquay, came from behind to win at Torquay today. That's going to be a test. But I feel we maybe just started building a little bit of momentum here. And hopefully there might be a couple of lone players to come in to augment this. So, promising signs. The final score of Eastleigh 1, Wrexham 1. I'm Mark Griffiths from the Wrexham AFC Media Team.